joining me. So today I'm going to start and make some elements for my big eclectic journal that I want to make. I've already made the cover. I've done a tutorial on how to make a simple cover using this lovely fabric tape. If you want to have a look, this is what I'm going to be using. It's going to have maybe 3 or 4 signatures, I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to start and create the ephemera. So it's going to be vintage eclectic, so I'm going to use a variety of things, and the main theme is just going to be vintage. It's a really good way of using things up, getting creative, making your own things, etc, etc. Anyway, so we're starting off with 3 of these tea-dyed envelopes. If you don't have tea-dyed, just use plain and ink them. So I'm going to get 2 and join them in the middle. Okay. And I'm just going to make sure that they are kind of lined up. And so, yeah, the flap's going to overlap there. Let me just think where I want which bit I want on the front. I'm going to have that window on the front there, I think. Although it didn't really, yeah. If I have it that way, let's just turn it that way, and then we can have the window on the inside instead of on the outside. I quite like that idea, so I just turn it around, slot it inside each other, fold it where you want it. I'm going to glue that flap over. Okay, let's just glue this flap down. And then I'm going to make one side side loading and one side top loading. So I'm just gluing very minimal, so it just catches on the original border of the envelope, so that I've got the full inside of that. Okay, so that's holding it together. All right, and this side here, I'm going to, let me have a think. I've glued that down. Right, so I just need to get my trimmer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim off a sliver from the front one, because I want that side opening. Okay. So that's going to be side opening at the front. Okay, doesn't matter that it's ever so slightly shorter than that one. And then this one here, shall I have that side opening or shall I have it top loading? I think I'll have that side opening as well, and then we're getting a lot of bang for our buck. Okay, right, so that's that bit. And then I want kind of like, let me have a think. I want this to go on here, I think, and come across. So I'm going to make this work for me. I'm going to just trim it just shy of the window, and then I can use this on another part. Okay, and I will use this as the hinge and then layer over with paper or a pocket there to complete that part. And I've got a little bit of a top load there if I so desire. So let me think where I'm going to have this. I'm going to stick it on the back side of that pocket, shall I? Let's have a look. Yeah, so I'm going to glue it. Let me just take that tab off. I don't want that sticking on the inside, so I'm just going to get my emboss budder and add powder to there to remove that stickiness. I want this to glue on the back there. All right, so I'm not going to glue right up to the fold. I'm going to glue just slightly away and have it like that. Yeah. Right, so I just need to refold here where it's gone a bit skew with from being tea-dyed, and re-glue that there. Okay, I'm going to put glue on the back side of here, not right up to the edge, And that's going to go inside here to just cover over that peephole window. Just pull it out ever so slightly so that the fold is just a little bit away, and I'm lining the edge of this up with the edge of there. Because what I'm going to do is, I don't mind if this bit protrudes, but this bit will go into my journal towards the spine. So I want that kind of flush there. All right. So I'll just leave that to dry. So I've got a side opening there. This is going to have paper over, maybe with a pocket. And then this will also be a pocket. Now I've got side loading there, and I'm going to close that with paper all the way over so that I've got the full depth of the pocket there. Let me just show you what I mean. So if I slide something in there, it's going to peep-o, you're going to see it. So I'll attach some kind of paper and just glue very gently there. So I'm going to do that now because I'm going to sew a signature into this. So let's find something to layer this page with. So I'm going to use leftovers of something that I've previously used and other bits that I've got chopped up. So let's... Okay, so I'm just going to trim the white edge off of there, and I'm going to do almost like a, probably like a collage effect. Okay, so let me see. I want that layering it in there, up to the top, down to here. I'm just going to mark it with a pencil. Hopefully I'm in shot. Mark it with a pencil, and I'm going to trim it to there. Where did I mark it? I can't even see that pencil mark. Is that it? It's there. I can see it again now. All right. So the idea for this journal is to just make things out of just whatever. And then once I've got all of the base pages done, then I'll come together with some sort of a theme. I've got quite a few journaling ephemera collections in my Ko-fi, so I've got quite a few things already printed out. So we're just going to see what happens. And so I'm just going to glue this top and bottom, and then let's see which way up it is. I want that side there. Just a thin bead there so that it closes this opening. Okay. So that then closes that. I could actually leave that as a tuck. So if I wait for that to dry, and then strengthen this border here, I can also use that as a tuck. So we will be doing that. So now I've just got all of my openings and what I'm doing organised, I'm going to actually create a signature. So I've got a bunch of papers here that I've already put together. Now they're going to be fine on the heights, but they're going to be too big on the width. So I'm just going to make a pencil mark roughly along my bundle, and I've got a bundle of 1, 2, 3, 4, just 4 sheets, but that gives me like 16 pages. All right, so let's just get these trimmed. So I'm just trimming them roughly. Okay, some of them are sewn, some of them aren't. I'm not worried about cutting through the sewing. And these little bits here I will save to use for ephemera. Okay, I just have to snip the sewing there where that page is sewn. Just give it a snip. I'll save these little pieces here because I can make clusters with those. And then what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to get my scissors, and because I don't necessarily want a dead straight cut edge, I'm just going to grab my pages together and carefully just rough them up ever so slightly with my scissors. And this crinkly paper is awesome. It's baking paper and it's been tea dyed and scrunched and dried. It looks lovely. All right, so this is going to sew into there with a very simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I will just go and do that, and then we will be back to do some more decorating. Okay, so I've added my little paper signature, and what I actually did to work smarter, not harder, was I literally laid it in the centre and then run the sewing machine down. So what that will do is it will just strengthen that ever so slightly. And what I also just quickly did off camera was I layered inside there with some patterned paper and on here. And what that will do is that will strengthen that hinge. Okay, did I do some in there? And then I just lined some in there as well, so that when the pocket is empty, you've still got something visual to look at. Right, so I want to work on this flap now. Now I tend to make my projects up as I go. There's not always a specific plan. So I've decided that I want this pocket a little bit smaller so I can put some sort of a closure. I don't want a closure on the whole thing because I think I'm going to, when I come to put it in my journal, I'll add a hinge and I'll add it to a page somewhere. Okay, so, or it'll go in a pocket. So I'm going to reduce the size of this envelope here, just enough to give me room to put a closure on the other side. It just adds extra interest. It's still going to be big enough to put a standard tag in. I'm just going to make sure. So there's a standard tag, there's the fold. So long as I don't go past about there, it just gives me that little bit of leeway to add some sort of closure. Okay, right, so how I'm going to close that pocket now, because I want the full depth of that pocket, I don't want to lose any of it. I'm going to close it with a paper hinge rather than just glue it there and glue it flat, because what that will do is that then makes that pocket only go to there. I want the full pocket. So I'm going to measure, and I'm using a piece of scrap. I'm going to measure the depth of my pocket roughly, very roughly, it doesn't need to be precise. I'm going to fold that in half and I'm going to make myself a hinge to close that. Okay, so I will add that to one side. You're not going to see the inside of the pocket because it's going to be closed, so it's going to be fine. Just make sure it's lined up. Give it a press, glue on that. That seals that pocket on the side there. Okay. Anything protruding, just trim it off. Yep. Right, so I've now got a full pocket again. Okay, when that's dry, I'll have the full depth of my pocket. Just, I'm not bothered about, there's a tiny bit protruding there, but by the time I've decorated that, you're not going to see it. So I'm going to leave it as an open pocket, so then things will slide in and out far easier. Okay, and we'll put our closure here. All right, so let's put that away. So what I need to do before I make my closure is just decorate this front part. So I will decorate it really simply, and then at the end of the video I will add in it totally, you know, when I've proper decorated it, basically. I'm showing you the, you know, the construction of it, and I'll show you my finished one at the end. All right, so what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to decorate this section here. I'm going to decorate this and I'm going to decorate that, so then I can put my closure on, and I'll tell you what my closure is going to be. I'm going to use some cardstock and I'm going to use a circle punch. Let me decide what size I'm going to use. 1 1/4. 1 1/4. Okay. And all you have to do is fold them in half. Fold them in half. And then get your doodah what's it. okay, and put a hole on 1/2. Look for central, but if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. Okay, one on one side. And one on the other. Central, that'll do. And then you can just add a very simple these. Okay, done this load. I've done it before on other projects. So then you just set your eyelet. I need a new one of these. I've got the large one, but I find it really cumbersome to use. I don't know why, I just do. Oh, that one's squashed beyond recognition. Let's try again. I'm obviously being too heavy-handed with it. Right, let's try again. There we go. I've not got it open fully. Okay. A little bit gentler this time, Amanda, please. Yep, there we go. We've got it. That's one. There we go, that'll do. Let's do the other. Okay, there we go. Perfectamundo. And then what you do is you glue one on one side there, and then this one will go here. And then you can use twine to fasten it, but you need to... Do I want to put these on first and then put my paper over? Yes, I think I will. So I'll put these in place, and then I can layer my patterned paper over the top, and then it will be nice and neat. Okay, am I in shot? So one at one side here, kind of central. And one at the other side over here. Get rid of that glue. Let me just get my ruler. I'll just do it by eye. And right up to the edge, so that then when you lay your paper over, it doesn't look rubbish. Okay. Let's have a look. Move that over. It's roughly central, you know, lined up with each other. Okay, make sure that's not on the crease. No, it's not. Okay, so now I can layer here with some patterned paper. So I'm just going to use what I've got already cut up, and I'm not going to think too deeply about which papers I'm using. Okay, so let's have a look. It has a specific, I don't really want one with a specific, anything specific on it. Might as well have that for the background. Okay, just trim my white borders off really quickly. My trimmer blades. I'm starting to lose my passion for the Stampin' Up! Trimmer. I really am. I'm really considering getting myself one of the Tim Holtz ones. Now, I've got this here, haven't I? So let me just have a think. Now, I'm not too worried. I'm going to literally just tear it rather than have it perfect. So I'm just going to get the dimensions of the edge of the envelope where I want it, because I want that bit to be neat. Okay, and what about there? It wants to just slide underneath that closure. Obviously, you're not going to get perfect straight edges when you're using coffee dyed envelopes, because first of all, the envelopes themselves are not perfectly straight. Secondly, once you've coffee dyed them, they warp, so you're never going to get perfection. Right, so that's there. Right, let's have a think now. So what I can do, if I'm a little bit clever, is I can, because I made all of these from the same batch of envelopes, I can sacrifice one of my envelopes for now. I can take the plastic off. And I can save this because I'm going to be doing multiple envelope type things in this journal. So what I can do is I can layer that on there and then layer my little template over. That's going to be roughly the same size. Okay, roughly. And I can roughly draw myself an area of where that window is going to be. Okay. And then I can very roughly cut it out. Now, where's my little scissors gone? Here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stab through the middle and I'm going to cut close to where, I'm not going to take it as golden, that's going to be exact, because it's a very rough measurement. Like I say, these envelopes, it's not an exact science, so I'm not going right up to the pencil mark. Okay, so now I can just layer it over and have a look where I'm at, if I'm anywhere close. Okay, that's not bad, not bad. Right, so what I'm going to do now is rub out the pencil so that nobody can see it. And then I'm going to use my scissors and I'm just going to distress where I've cut to hide the fact that it's wonky. It'll just look distressed. Okay. And then I'll save this now for until I've completed my journal, and then when I've done that, I can always glue it back together and use it. No biggie. Okay. Right, so now what I want to do is get in there with some distressing. And that's how you get a full piece over. Un momento. Sorry about that, I just had to evict the boys from my craft room. Oh, poor boys. They're only trying to protect the house, but yeah, you don't want to listen to that, do you? I'm going to distress all of this. Get off. Give it an ink. These ink sponges here, I will tell you, if anybody shops on Temu, I got them from Temu. They're absolutely cheap as chips and they're perfectly fine for inking edges. I wouldn't start ink blending a beautiful project with them, but for inking edges for journaling, if you've seen them and you're wondering if they're any good, they're more than fine. Okay, I still have my good quality ones for, you know, better things, but for inking the edges of bits of paper like this, more than good enough. Right, so now that will layer on there perfectly fine. Let's get it on. Okay, I could, if I wanted to, leave a gap there and slip some more, ephemera under my paper, but I think sometimes you can just go too mad, can't you? So I'm going to glue it all flat. Okay. Alrighty. got plenty on. Glue that on there. I've got a decent increment top and bottom. Make sure it's glued on nicely there. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's looking nice. That's looking nice. And then it's a case of just keeping layering up with decorations. Okay. Let me just make sure that that's actually glued down properly. Alrighty, let's have a look what we've got here now. Okay, so what I'm going to do here for a bit of added interest is, I shall put it there. Yeah, that looks nice. I've got some of this patterned paper from, I don't know, one of my collections. I love it. And I'm going to add it down there. Just rip it, ink it, and glue it. So what I might do in a moment is I might just fast forward the video and then talk you through, because although it's very basic, layering and, you know, gluing, it can be a timely process. So I may fast forward it and do a talk over so that you're not missing anything, you know, majorly important, because none of this is rocket science. There's no precise measuring. It's just basically like collage and just using what you've got to make things just look interesting. Okay, so okay, so I've sped this process up. It's very straightforward. It's just basically layering over with interesting elements, making your areas look interesting. It is that simple. So I'm using simple baker's twine for my closure, taking some of the bright stark white off by adding vintage photo, and there we go, we've got a simple closure for that flip element. So now I'm just deciding on what ephemera to add, and I'm adding this little piece of ephemera, and I'm actually going to add it as like a fold out for journaling on. So you can see me gluing it on there and then changing my mind. I change my mind all the time, and I'm adding this interesting scraps of paper with the punched holes in that I've had gifted. I just think it adds a lovely vintage tatty look. So there we go. Now I'm just looking for any kind of ephemera to add in those pockets so that whoever gets to open this little booklet has got lots of things to look at, and obviously you can journal on the back of them. So, you know, it's just interesting elements to add to your journals. Digital's awesome to use because it saves you time. You know, a lot of the artwork and the hard work's been done for you, so then you can enjoy the process of just decorating and gluing, and it's very therapeutic. So I'm just looking through all of my bits and pieces that I've previously printed out, looking for elements to add interest, and I've found this little boy here, chopped his legs off and added him behind that cluster, and that pocket now looks awesome. I'm really happy with it. So again, just looking for interesting bits of ephemera. I coffee dye on the back of mine, print coffee dye, so that, you know, you've not got any white spaces, and they're perfect for journaling on. I ink everything. Absolutely everything. So yeah, fill your pockets, add interest, and just have fun with the process of it. It's really, really therapeutic. I love this kind of crafting. I like spending time looking how I can make things look interesting, how I can just add bits of ripped up paper to, you know, accentuate. And I'm using bits of leftover cardstock here with eyelets to just add decoration. It's just something a little bit different, probably easier to do before you glued your pocket on, but you know, I tend to do things like that. So you just keep filling your pockets with lovely ephemera, and I'm going to be showing you a full flip through in a moment, and we're good to go. I hope that it inspires you, and I hope that you will give it a go. Okay, so I've finished. I've done quite a little bit off camera. So it's fabulous. It's turned out really, really lovely, and literally everything has just been bits and bobs from some of my ephemera collections and things that I've made and stamped, and it's turned out really lovely. So what we've got here is an envelope flip with a signature sewn in, a 16-page signature. So what I may well do, I've not decorated the back because I might, as I said earlier in the video, put a hinge on and then attach it to a page or you know, a cover, or I'm not sure yet how I'm going to use this, so I've left the back plain. You could even make a few of these and you know, make another one and then do a hinge there and have it there so that you've got the flip-flop journals. And this is quite a sturdy way of making them, so I might even do that. I might add another one there, I don't know yet, but let's have a quick look. So we've got this fabulous eclectic front page here with lots and lots of ephemera tucked round and about. We've got the simple little closure that I showed you how to make. So this undoes like so, okay, and then you just pull it out, and we've got this flip here. I've added a cluster on the bottom. I've got a video on how I made these, and then we've got collage. I found this little guy here. This is stamped, and the pocket is filled with ephemera from one of my Journaling Basics collections. So that flips open, and on the back there we've got this little piece of ephemera that I faffed about with because I couldn't get it straight, and it opens for journaling. We've got a genuine vintage stamp there, and then just a little bit of decoration, so that is a full pocket there. And then here we've just got this slipped inside. This is in my Journaling Basics or ephemera collection. I've added some little tags there that I've die cut and stamped, okay, and then you've got this window pocket here that's been collaged, filled full of ephemera, receipts and postcards and invoices, okay. This invoice is exclusive to me. It's actually an old company in Marsden, which is near my home. So that all slides in there, okay. Get it back in. Get back in, you slippery little sucker. Oh, I'm all fingers and thumbs because I'm tired. I'll do that after. So that will close. It will all tie up again, and that tag just tucks behind before you tie it. Have the little tags dangling there, and then it opens, and you've got another pocket here that I've added another cluster to. So this is from my journaling compendium, I think, or vintage compendium. I think it was a pound collection that I did. And then we've got the signature, okay, which I've kept pretty plain for writing. I've just added bits of washi tape here and there. And then the back here, we've got another envelope I've just decorated with some butterflies, and that's again filled with ephemera, just a little bit of decoration there, with some eyelets and some scrap cardstock. So there you go. I think that's really rather lovely. I hope let me see if I can get this back in. I hope the video gives you some inspiration of exactly what you can make. Just use your imagination, and I will link the collections that I've used below in case you're interested. They're great fun to work with, and I am going to be making a huge, massive journal using probably 2 or 3 of the collections because I've printed them out, so I'm using them. And then this simple closure just holds all of that flip-flap component together. Tie it in a bow and you're good to go. And I think that's really rather lovely, and you can make that with whatever collection you so desire that you've already got, and go and have some fun. And what I will do with this, like I say, I'll either hinge it, or it'll just go as an insert, or just slot inside a journal. You could sew it into the centre of a signature. You could make several of them, hinge them back to back, and make a complete journal out of these. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.